Good morning, everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S exam prep. My name is Alpa Sharma, and this is our daily Hindu editorial analysis. I hope I'm clearly visible and audible to everybody. Good morning, Mahita. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear and see me clearly, everybody? Good morning, Ali, Manas. I'm absolutely good. I hope everyone's doing great too. Yes, clearly visible and audible. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I hope I'm audible and visible on YouTube as well. Could you please confirm that quickly? Yes, audible and visible. All right, so first of all, happy Makar Sankranti, happy Pongal, happy Bogali Bihu, happy Lori to everybody, whatever you're celebrating out there. It's some positivity in the midst of Omicron spreading. So happy all these festivities to everyone, every one of you. Eat to your heart's content. Celebrate. There's a custom of kite flying where I live in. So if you live somewhere around, go fly kites, stay safe, don't miss out on your studies. So before I start off with anything, 14th of January today, and I'm going to take two articles today. One article is from the Hindu and the other article is from the Indian Express. So we're going to discuss both the articles in detail, look at its legal perspective as well, because there is one very important one. Apart from that, let me take you through a few things here as well. Okay, so the first is that since it's festivities around, we have flat 25% off going on all our classroom programs. So if you wish to enroll yourself for any of our classroom programs, this is the best time because you have flat 25% off. Utilize this offer and enroll yourself using this code at the earliest. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Otherwise, you're going to regret that later on. Apart from that, if you're targeting MHCT, ALAT, SLAT, BLAT, JAMIA, these low entrance examinations, apart from CLAT, then we have the special batch that we are launching tomorrow, and the enrollments have already started. So make sure you don't miss out on any single class, because specifically the initial classes are going to frame the foundation of your preparation. And if you miss out on the first few classes, then the next few classes are going to be difficult for you to understand because everything is linked. इसीलिए और 25% off तो है, तो इसलिए जल्दी से enroll कर लो. Don't wait for anything. All of these our eminent faculties are going to be teaching in this batch, the best ever possible. Also, if you're targeting CLAT 2022, we have our very first crash course that we've launched. So again, 25% off चल रहा है, तो सबसे अच्छा टाइम अभी एनरोल करने का. जल्दी से एनरोल कर लो, नहीं तो क्लासेस मिस हो जाएंगी. आप ऑफिशियली लेट हो चुके हो क्लैट के प्रिपरेशन के लिए, और लेट नहीं होना है, इसलिए जल्दी से स्टार्ट कर लो प्रिपरेशन. ऑल्सो अगर आपको सारे सब्जेक्ट नहीं पढ़ने हैं, you wish to study only legal affairs and current events for CLAT 2022, we have our booster batch 2 that we have launched. Batch 1 is already full. Batch 2 launch हो चुका है, इसकी क्लासेस स्टार्ट हो चुकी हैं. I'm sure you would not want to miss out on any important aspect here, इसलिए जल्दी से एनरोल कर लो. और अगर आप CLAT 2023 टारगेट कर रहे हो, so latest batches के लिए batch 7, and I'll be teaching in this batch as well. So virtually मुझे imagine कर लो इधर. और video team, why you do this to me? Why not my pictures in these? So I'll be teaching in this batch as well. जल्दी से enroll कर लो, because आपके पास सिर्फ 11 months बाकी हैं preparation के लिए. All right. Good morning everyone who's joined me just now. All right. Just a minute, guys. Give me a second. I'll have to fix something. Okay, yes. So here we go. Okay, now what are we going to do in the class today? We'll start off with the quote of the day that you're going to give me. We'll revise 3 questions from yesterday's class. Okay, and we'll take up 2 articles, do a detailed discussion on them, take out vocabulary, phrasal verbs, idioms from these 2 articles and work on them, start memorizing them. In the end, you're going to tell me the tone of the author. I'm sure everybody now is an expert in identifying the tone of the author. We've been doing it for the last 9-10 months regularly. एंड हम देखेंगे आज के न्यूज़पेपर में क्या क्या इंपॉर्टेंट आर्टिकल्स हैं जो आज हमको पढ़ना चाहिए, and what are the articles we can miss. Also, if there's anything that you would want to communicate to me, you can comment under my video in the comment section, and you can write down the summary of each article that we discussed today under my video. I check each of the comments, so summary लिखो, मैं सबको check करूंगी. All right, so that is what we're going to do today. Okay. Okay. Ali, etymology and revision. Simple answers to your question. If you forget vocabulary, if you're unable to retain them, working on etymology and working on revising these words. Vocabulary needs a lot of revision. And thus, being regular with these classes, they really help you because I help you take out words and revise them on a regular basis. So if you're regular, you would not have a lot of problem with revision. Okay. Okay. So all right, so any questions in the app? Yes, I have a quote of the day in the app. Ignore the noise and follow your own choice. People are going to say, boards पे ज़्यादा ध्यान दो, boards के marks life long काम आते हैं. ध्यान देना ज़रूरी है boards पे. There's going to be a lot of noise. CLAT, क्या कर रहे हो CLAT? कौन जाता है NLU? Who becomes a lawyer? There's no salary for a lawyer. You're not going to earn anything. Become an engineer. There's going to be a lot of noise around you. But if you're clear with your vision, clear with your determination, and you know what you're taking up, there should not be anything that makes noise around you that should stop you. So if you're clear with your vision, this is where I see myself 10 years down the line. There's going to be a lot of noise, but the noise is going to become actually mellifluous to you when you reach a stature. Remember that. So that was our quote of the day. Because Manish, you guys give me the quote. I don't bring it. So that I don't forget taking the quote, it remains the same. It's been same for the last 9 months. I haven't changed it. Let's start with the revision. Make suffering, deficiency or a problem less severe. Okay, so is it elevate? Is it eradicate? Is it articulate? Is it alleviate? We have very close options today. Let's see how many of you get this correct. Okay, what is the future of the lawyers? What books should I read? Do you guys think I should be taking an Ask Me Anything session tomorrow? Because tomorrow is Saturday and we don't have a Hindu class. Tell me a yes or no. Do you want an Ask Me Anything session? We haven't done it in quite a while. Yes, the answer is absolutely everyone is right. The answer is alleviate. You were not confused. Eradicate is actually banishing or vanishing something, right? Or completely removing it. Whereas we're not removing the suffering here, we're making it less severe. Thus the answer is D, alleviate, not elevate. Yes, everybody needs that. Alright, so come in tomorrow everyone. Possibly in the evening with an Ask Me Anything session. Make sure you watch out for the timing in the morning. Set a bookmark. I will try to answer as many questions as possible tomorrow. Okay? Ask Me Anything tomorrow. No Hindu class tomorrow because tomorrow is Saturday. Okay. So here we go with the next question. Next question. Charge or claim that someone has done something undesirable or an accusation. Very easy. Mitigate, discordant, imputation, marginalize. What is it? Quick, quick, quick. What is it? Elevate is to increase or maybe increase, rise. Yes, Anushka, right. Can you also tell in the session which other exam should we register for? Yes, I will. I will make sure I do. If I forget, please remind me of that, Purva. I'll address that question in detail tomorrow. All right. Okay, Ali, noted. The answer is imputation for sure. Imputation. It is. Okay. So, marginalize nahi hai, imputation. It's a charge. It's an accusation. The last one. Incline to cause or undergo division into separate parts or groups. We did this one in detail. Stimulus, vociferous, malicious, enmity. Kal ki class aapko pata hai? I had to relook at the entire class again to identify if I said something which was offensive to any particular group or not, or if I possibly used something against the government, because the government can actually slap me with a Sedition charge. I had to relook. I made my video team sit and relook into my class again. So see how scared I am. The answer is fissiparous. Yes, it is fissiparous. Correct. Absolutely, yes. All right, now let's move to today's vocabulary. We've got some new words, some old words as well, some common words as well. Let's see what is today's lot. Tarini, okay. So we're going to start with the vocabulary from today's articles. Make sure you understand them, but you have to be regular to be able to grasp completely out of the class. Okay. So here we go. Exchequer. When you solve passages, when you read editorials which are economy based in our country, exchequer is a very common word. So technically exchequer, okay. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for supporting me. Okay. So exchequer is a very common word that you would see in such passages. That is the national treasury. Now, treasury does not mean it's a treasure that we have inherited from our kings and queens and its gold coins and its diamonds. That's not our treasury. National treasury is our gold and our currency. That's our national treasury. And out of that national treasury, what comes out impacts our entire economy. So that treasury is an exchequer. Okay, इसको check से link करके याद कर लेना. That's an exchequer. So taxes were an important source of revenue to the Sultan's exchequer, Sultan's treasury, Sultan's allotment of funds. So basically, what he collected, a lot of that came from taxes that aided to the exchequer, to his revenue, to his treasury. So it is Sultan's treasury here, but a country can also have a treasury. Absolutely, yes. All the commerce kids would know how our treasury functions. Next word is encompass. Let me give you the etymology here. The first prefix here is N. N means basically to confine. Okay, like, can you give me words with ENN? Or it can be confined, it can also be within. Can you give me words with EN? Yes, you can say encompasses in circumscribe or comprise. Yes, absolutely right. Okay, so can you give me words with ENN? One of them is encompass. The others, ensure, okay. Endanger, okay. Entangle. Enclose. Encourage. Okay, so it can also be to include. Yes. All right. Encounter. All of these have the same root word, which means to include or confine or within. And compass. Okay, so when we use a compass, we make a circle. So basically, anything that includes something within that vicinity, within that boundary, within that periphery is encompass. Okay, holding within itself. This area of London encompasses Piccadilly to the north and St. James Park to the south. So basically, this area includes. Okay, so ये सब subsets within a bigger set, talking like a critical reasoning teacher, is encompass. The next word, foster, is to aid. Okay, literally it's to aid. So foster parents होते हैं, those parents who don't give birth to a child, but then they help a child grow into a good human being. They encourage the child, they are guardians to the child. That's why foster parents. But otherwise, foster can simply be encourage the development or aid the development of anything. The teacher's task is to foster learning. Yes, absolutely yes. The last word of the slide is infrastructure. Simple. All of you should know this word. Okay. Hemendra, for foster, you can say embolden. Okay. Exhort. Yes. No, foster is not to adopt. No, it isn't, Movies. That's wrong. No, not necessarily. In fact, for a foster parent, it is not necessary to adopt a child. So, no, it isn't. It isn't a compulsion. Understand the concept of a foster parent. it's not very common in our country, but if you look at the Western countries, if a child goes through any kind of abuse by the natural parents, the authority would come and take away the child. Now, where would they keep the child? They might not necessarily send the child to an orphanage. They can send the child to foster homes as well. Okay, to foster parents as well. These are those parents who already have a family but are willing to aid or help the child and keep the child with themselves for some time so that his upbringing isn't hampered. Okay, so they don't necessarily have to adopt the child. The foster homes, they don't necessarily keep orphan kids. There's a difference between orphanage and a foster home. I hope you understand the difference here. Okay, all right, so last word, infrastructure. So infrastructure is basically the structure. It could be the physical one, it could be a conceptual one as well. Basically anything that aids to the needs of the society, needs of the organization is the infrastructure that helps the needs of the society or organization. So the soul of any company or any country is in the social and economic infrastructure of the country. Yes, slide number 1, everyone, take a screenshot very quickly. Foster is to grow. Absolutely, Mehika. Yes, you can say foster is to grow. Okay. And grows for encompass. Bilkul correct, Rishabh. Okay. Rajkosh is the Hindi word for exchequer. Yes, it is. It is. Absolutely correct. ठीक है, आगे चले. Next slide. Incubator. देखो, it has multiple connotations, multiple contextual usage. One incubator is, it's like a box. Okay, that's the basic literal word that we use. It's like a box where usually infants, newborns are kept if they are usually premature or weak. So they need to be protected from external infections and they need a proper environment to aid their growth. Thus, they are kept into incubators. It's a little warm inside and there are no chances of infection getting into it. There's a proper oxygen supply. That's an incubator. Then there are other incubators where eggs are kept, right? For helping the eggs to hatch because there's a warm environment inside. That's another meaning of an incubator, okay? But otherwise, how else can incubator be used? Yes, Harshita, it should help you. Okay, so what is another meaning of an incubator? Can I say anything that aids, anything that helps growth? Can I say that? The contextual meaning of incubator here. So here the meaning is for the incubator for infants. No, Tanishka, no. It's a safe environment that aids growth. Okay? All right, that's another meaning of the incubator. Next word, vocational. You know a lot of vocational courses, you know of them, right? So vocational are basically any course, anything that teaches you a specific skill. So if you take up a vocational course for painting, maybe it teaches you a skill of being a good painter. That's a vocational course. Any course that's apart from the regular commerce, math, science, physics, chemistry, anything apart from this, anything that teaches you a skill. Maths is not a skill. English is not a skill. But a skill is anything else that you learn with practice, which not everybody else is good at. So that's a vocational one. Specialized vocational courses such as fashion and catering. Our schools don't teach us this. A lot of schools don't. Some of them do. Have been popular among students. Okay? So, you need to take up a lot of vocational courses to aid your intellect and understanding. Okay. So, yes. Okay. Yes, Manish, it can be related. Yes. Aquarium, Ashmita, nahi. Okay. Next word, niche. Niche word में बहुत commonly use होता है, especially with the whole influencer society and people who think they can make Instagram accounts and influence people. Niche is a very commonly used word. So niche is anything that you take up as an employment for yourself, that gives you employment and is a very comfortable one for you. You don't have to hustle to get through it. That's a niche. So he is now a partner for a leading law firm and feels he has found his niche, his comfort in that employment. That is the niche. Okay, so a leading law firm and he's comfortable with that work. He doesn't have to hustle. He doesn't have to put in a tremendous amount of effort. He likes what he does and that gives him employment. That is a niche. Okay, and the last word is propel. Propel is a very common word with physics. Anything that throws something ahead, pushes something forward is propelling. All the physics kids would know. The boat is propelled by using a very long paddle. So when a paddle is used, it is thrown forward. That forward movement, sudden push from back is propel. Agreed, everyone? Driving is a skill. It is a skill. A good driving is a skill. Anyone can be a driver. A good driver is a skill. Okay. Niche is comfort. Yes, you can say that. Reading can be a vocational course. Course? No. Propel is to push or encourage. Yes, it is. It is. Okay. Niche customer. बिल्कुल बोल सकते हो आप श्रेष्ठा. Yes, you can say that. Yes, Vaibhav, it is. All right, take a screenshot, everyone. I'm moving to the next slide. Slide number 2. I hope there are no questions. Nudge. Yes, Arshita can also be used as a synonym to propel. It can be. Provoke as well. Allege. You as law aspirants will absolutely know it. You accuse somebody or you claim something, but you don't have a concrete proof. Usually you don't have it. If you have it, it isn't there in the public. That is alleged. So alleged crime, that is the person is accused of that crime, or possibly there's an allegation on him. But if he's actually a criminal, there's no proof of it yet. That's alleged. He alleged that he had been assaulted. He claimed that he had been assaulted. By the time he was claiming it, there was no concrete proof to back up his claims. That's alleged. Okay. Next is a watchdog. Allegations, impute. Yes. Yes. तो आपसे ये सब कल आंसर करूंगी. Okay. सारे questions. Jolt, hustle, same meaning. Jolting has the same meaning as propel. Yes. कथित तौर पे. आप लोगों की हिंदी बहुत अच्छी है. मेरे दिमाग में नहीं आते ये words. Yes. कथित तौर पे is alleged. Correct. Watchdog. Now a watchdog is basically anybody or any organization or any person whose responsibility is to oversee or monitor if everything is going legally well and the practices are valid or not. That is the job of a watchdog. He was appointed as the consumer watchdog for transport in London. So his job was to look at the consumers and possibly look at their grievances if everything is going fair or not. That is what a watchdog would do. So literally a watchdog would take care of the house. He would be observant and monitor things. A person can also be a watchdog. An organization can also be a watchdog. A guard, surveillance, supervision. Yes. Shruti, opposition parties. You know, the Hindu can actually be called a watchdog. Do you agree to me? Because a lot of people commonly believe that the Hindu, right now, a lot of people commonly believe that the Hindu is actually anti-BJP. But then you forget the fact. Ever since you have understood the whole politics of our country, you've seen BJP into the center, right? And that's why some people may think it's anti-BJP. No, that's a misconception. The Hindu is anti-center. Simple as that. And anti-center is a crude term. But then the whole ideology of where the Hindu believes in is that whoever is in authority needs to be criticized. Because if there's no criticism, then there's no democracy. A criticism is the only thing that will lead to the improvement of a democratically elected party or the government that's in power. Thus, it always tries to criticize and find flaws in the party that's at the center. Okay? I hope you understand the methodology and the pedagogy here. Okay, so surveillance is a watchdog, like a watchman. Yes, a stalker. Sahil, is a related word, although a stalker comes with a negative connotation. Yes, the opposition party can also be a watchdog for the ruling party. Okay, so can you guess what article am I going to take today? Because I have discussed watchdog and alleged. Can you make a guess what article am I going to take today? Criticism is very important in democracy. Very important. If there's no criticism, there's no democracy. Okay, so let's move to the next one. Okay, so quest. Quest is your journey towards finding something. My quest for truth. So my journey towards finding truth. My quest for knowledge, my journey towards finding knowledge. So your journey that you undertake to find out something, that's a quest. The quest for a reliable vaccine, for a vaccine that protects us from all the variants of COVID has intensified. Yes? So our journey to find out something is a quest. Next one, nuance, is looking at subtle details, finding out the difference in each word while you're stuck with two close options in the examination. A nuanced view, a detailed analysis of the difference between the two options is needed. I hope you understand what is nuanced. He was familiar with the nuances of local dialect. He knew how local dialect and the tiny little words are different from one dialect to the other. He knew the details of it. Knowing the details of it is nuanced. Yes, the examples are very good today. Yes. Arduous is a lot of effort taking thing. Okay. Shabhan, I hope you understand that. Okay. No, no, no. I'm not going to discuss hate speech anymore. I'm done with that. I've taken it once and I'm never taking it again. My whole purpose was to make you understand of the legal implication of that. I've done that. If you forget it, you can go back to my class and watch it. I will never take any article on hate speech again. It took a mental toll on me. I told everyone in my class in the evening that I started fumbling by the end of the article because I had to be so careful while using each and every word. Micro detail is nuance. It is, Shakshi, it is. Fine distinction, it is. Quest is the thirst. Yes, you can say that. All right, so let's move to the articles today. Two articles. The second article becomes even more important. So I'll start with the first one. We'll skim through it, and the second article will talk in detail about that and the legal implication of it. I have done some research about that as well, and that is what we're going to do. So let's start with and it's going to help you with the legal reasoning as well. Yes. So let's start with the articles, everyone. The first one is here. Establishing an India's Apple. India का Apple कैसे? देखो. ये वाला page पढ़ो everyone if you haven't read this article. This month, the US tech company Apple reached the $3 trillion mark in market capitalization. Market value, $3 trillion. This made it wealthier than most countries. Yes. The question is, can or will India be able to produce a company like Apple? Yes, can we? The answer is no. I partly disagree to it. I very strongly think BYJU'S is right on its way. Nonetheless, the author believes the answer is no. Why the answer is no? He explains that. Okay, so not until we turn our university campuses into powerful economic accelerators. So if you look at, I'll give you an example from my own life. Okay, so I will not name that person. I have a cousin. Okay, and when I give you this example, you'll understand the whole background of this whole article. I have a cousin, and this cousin did her PhD in microbiology from JNU, okay, which is one of the best universities for PhD, okay. And then she moved on to finding a job and she could not. So then she moved on again to do her postdoc, which is an equivalent degree to a PhD. She did her postdoc from our country itself. So she was actually PhD and a postdoc. She is. Then she again tried to find a job, which she couldn't. And she wanted to work as a scientist for microbiology. And right now, you know how important microbiology in our country is. She started finding a job again. She could not. All she could find was working as a lecturer in a mediocre merit-based college who would only pay her like 20,000, 30,000 per month. What was the value of it? So she decided to take up another postdoc. Third postdoc from our country. Again trying to find, and I'm not making it up. Third postdoc from our country. She could not find a job. She decides to move to Israel. She is working as a scientist in Israel. That country, which is one of the first few countries to be completely vaccinated along with the booster doses. So now what happens? Because she could not find a job, because she could not find appropriate research infrastructure here where she could work as a scientist, she moved to Israel, and that's where she is working as a scientist. Why is this happening? Because possibly our country, our universities, our colleges, our campuses aren't actually accelerators of the economy. They don't pay. If they pay, there aren't ample of opportunities. So what do people do? They migrate. Yes. So that is a personal story of something that I have witnessed. And there are so many other stories throughout our country that we know. This making of universities and campuses into powerful economic accelerators. How do we do that? This will require an understanding of how innovation works. She was innovative. She had the talent, but she did not have the opportunity. How do we do that? Let's understand that from the perspective of the article. The foundation. How do we build the foundation? Innovation requires establishing ecosystems, which requires building institutional framework. What is an ecosystem? An ecosystem is that basically an existence, a society, a surrounding that aids the development. Here it is a society, a surrounding that aids the development of universities and campuses, including physical infrastructure and mental infrastructure that helps research as well. To build ecosystem, we should start by connecting institutions nearby. अगर एक यूनिवर्सिटी में इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है तो क्या बाकी यूनिवर्सिटीज उसका इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर यूज कर सकते हैं? If this is possible, all other universities will have access to this ecosystem. Agreed? Building research infrastructure should be envisioned for an ecosystem rather than an institution. अगर आप एक infrastructure develop कर रहे हो एक college के लिए, it shouldn't be looked as building infrastructure for one university or one college or one campus. It should be looked as building the whole ecosystem, aiding everything else around us, aiding every single university around us. Yes? Yes, agreed. क्या हो गया? Movies क्या बोल रहा है? That's right, Movies. Yes, brain drain. That's what happened. और ये तो मैंने आपको personal example दिया, and possibly that cousin will never come back to India because she earns well, she has opportunity, she can research, she has liberty of working on her own research there. So the initial funding to build the large, कहाँ से आएगा ये large infrastructure build करने का funding? Who would give us? The government. The initial has to come from the exchequer only. The government funding is the initiator of turning ideas into workable solution in science and technology-led innovation. So if there's ample of funding from the government, that's when people can work, people can research, people can excel. Once kick-started, then the process. So basically, एक projection होना चाहिए government के through, and then the process will kickstart and we will climb higher and higher. Fostering innovation goes beyond making the physical infrastructure and providing access. अब author कह रहा है कि it's not only about physical, कि laboratory बन गई, अब जाओ research करो. It's not only about that. It's a mental infrastructure that also you have to make. It includes having excellent tech transfer offices, access to legal counsel and law firms, funding opportunities outside the government, and most importantly, having world-class faculty members. Had she been working into one of the IITs maybe, then she would have been aiding so many more researchers, right? But sadly, that did not happen. Tech transfer offices and incubators that aid technology, that aid research, an environment that does that. That's how incubator is used here. So tech transfer offices and incubators play a vital role in commercializing technologies. Their part is to make sure that the universities are incentivized while providing a physical space and technical and legal help for individual faculty driven innovation. Dekho, how is legal help needed in terms of innovations? How is that important? What is the role of a law firm in aiding the whole ecosystem of innovation? Tell me. Who's going to say that? Let me see. Anyone? What is the role of a law firm in aiding the ecosystem of innovation? Anyone? Mahi, how? Manu, yes. Patents. Patents, yes. Exactly. Intellectual property rights, yes. Not taxing, but licensing. Exactly. That is what it is, licensing. While you are innovating, you need license. You need to follow legal procedures. That's how a law firm would aid you. To do this, they need to build independent mechanisms for the governance, funding and competitive process of licensing inventions to third parties. ठीक है? अब बताओ ये आर्टिकल मैंने क्यों लिया है? Do you think such an article, because it's an easy one to understand, but do you think this article can be framed into a reading comprehension? Very, very likely yes. Every single line can lead to a question, like I am asking you. Such questions can be there. How can a law firm aid? What is a patent? What are the ways that will aid to? What is an ecosystem in this context? What are the process? What are the steps that would aid innovation in our country? All of these questions can be easily asked. This passage can easily be framed into a reading comprehension. I hope you understand that. So finally, the tech transfer offices need to formulate clear guidelines regarding ownership rights, who owns the innovation, and where does it come out of. You see so many IITs claiming for patents. Yes, they do. Which IIT does that? Is there clarity on the legality of it? That's the job of a law firm doing it. Now, there's a broader reach. I was talking about IITs, I was talking about innovation, but innovation क्या सिर्फ ये STEM में ही होता है? Science, technology, engineering और mathematics सिर्फ इसी में innovation होता है क्या? Are only these subjects important for innovation? They will lead to innovation out of the university campus. It is essential to broaden the reach to cover all streams with liberal arts. So it's not only the STEM, these subjects, these areas. We need to broaden our vision to cover all the liberal arts as well. Yes, agreed? Yes, very good, Ishan. Thank you for that information. Okay, so that is here. So we need to cover up liberal arts as well. Universities need to engage a broader group with integrated curricula incorporating all disciplines. Additionally, the university curricula need to get away from focusing exclusively on awarding degrees on broad subjects to providing vocational training. डिग्री देना साइंस में, टेक्नोलॉजी में, IITs का जो काम है, engineering डिग्री देना, mathematics डिग्री देना, move away from that. Focus on vocational training. Develop the student's skill for a specific task. That is what universities need to do today. Focusing on innovation must not take our minds away from the problems in fundamental sciences of other streams. You know, I'll give you a simple example to understand this concept. So you might not be able to understand or grasp this clearly, but I strongly believe that teaching how to file your own income tax return, for example, out of multiple other things, should have been a part of our school curriculum. Do you agree? Because everybody is supposed to do that. Why do I have to pay a CA to do that? It's a simple job. It's a simple job. कहाँ investment करना है? Tax कैसे save करना है? Save, not चोरी, save. कितना tax देना है? कैसे tax देना है? ये तो सबको आना चाहिए. क्या ये हमारे स्कूल करिकुलम का या कॉलेज करिकुलम का पार्ट नहीं होना चाहिए था? ये सिर्फ कॉमर्स स्टूडेंट्स क्यों पढ़ते हैं? इट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ द वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम लाइक सो मेनी अदर थिंग्स. बैंक जाके कैसे ऑपरेट करनी है सब चीजें, योर पेरेंट्स वुड टीच यू दैट, योर ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स वुड टीच यू दैट. व्हाई डोंट आवर स्कूल्स टीच अस दैट? How to make a DD, how to make a check. Why are only commerce students taught that? Do you agree with me? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Correct. Correct. So, we need to go beyond our curriculum. We need to focus on vocational training. Funding for applied sciences should not be at the cost of fundamental sciences. Applied sciences, yes, sir. इस पे फंडिंग आए is okay, but it should not be by depriving the fundamental sciences of its funding. It equally needs equal amount of funding. Within the market cap, I think this GDP is not very important. Yes, let's start reading from this line. Sustained public funding to build world-class research and development infrastructure and hiring the best faculty in our university system are the first step to realizing this dream. Another example, if my cousin had been hired as a faculty in one of the IITs, the brain drain would not have happened. So we need to fund these universities so that they can help pay these world-class faculty as well. Equally important is encouraging and providing the faculty the freedom to dive more into the space without sacrificing critical thinking. आपको ये पढ़ाना है, आप यही पढ़ाइए, आप इसके आगे कुछ नहीं पढ़ा सकते. If this is the curriculum, then how will a faculty be innovative? And if the faculty is not innovative, how will a child be innovative? Right? So, the faculty also needs aid. This will propel innovation quotient to be used as a defining parameter for ranking universities rather than parameters like size of the graduating class. 100 बच्चे graduate हो गए आज college से. Rather than that, what is the innovative quotient? What is the ranking of universities in the world ranking? What is the faculty student ratio? उसको भूल जाओ. ये देखो आपने कितना इनोवेशन दिखाया, आपकी रैंकिंग कहाँ है थ्रू आउट द वर्ल्ड. दैट्स इक्वली इंपॉर्टेंट हियर. यस, लाइक लॉज फॉर अस. यस, लाइक फंडामेंटल राइट्स. Nobody paid attention to that. We were taught the preamble, but ऊपर से, only skimming. We never knew what are our basic fundamental rights, what are our in-depth usage of that. Everybody has to deal with law. What zero, for that matter of fact, what is zero FIR? Most of the people who, like you and me, we know what law is because we've been studying that. But most of the people around us would not know what zero FIR is. And if a police station says, no, we're not going to register your FIR, they don't know what to do. They'll just sit and crib that our governance is bad. Agreed? Yes. So, that was about the passage. Tone of the passage, everyone. Tone. Tone of the author, everyone. Yes, exactly, Shazia. Like those laws. They're very important. Tone of the author, everyone. So many things we need to work on. And I'm sure all of you ignited minds, all of you future lawyers, possibly professors, possibly IAS officers, possibly judges, are going to bring in this change. I'm very hopeful about that. 10 years down the line, when my daughter is possibly a law aspirant or a CA aspirant or maybe whatever she wants to do, she'll look up to you guys. It is analytical. It is analytical. It is analytical. Rather, I think more than analytical, it can be suggestive. It's suggestive. Rather than analytical, I think I would go with suggestive. Yes, Shrestha, suggestive. क्या करना चाहिए? ऐसे करो, ऐसे करो. A lot of. So the whole purpose of writing the whole passage was to give suggestions. It's suggestive. Okay? Now, let's move to the second article. Supremely important. Okay? Now, answer a few questions that I'm asking you before I go to the next passage. Okay. Google. How important is Google as a part of your life? On a scale of 1 to 100, how important is Google? Or rather 1 to 10, how important is Google a part of your life? How important is Google a part of your life on a scale of 1 to 10? Ali says, okay, 7, 10, 10, 100, 1000, 9. Okay, ठीक है. It is life. It is life. Okay, agreed. Got the answer. 8.5. I wonder how did you make that calculation? Okay, Shrestha says 100. Okay, so I can say it's a very important part of your life. Do you think Google has access to everything? Cookies, whatever websites you browse, your basic information. Because Google is not only Google, it's Gmail and it's Instagram, and it's sorry, not Instagram, it's Gmail and it's so many other things. Google Meet and everything else. So can I say it has access to almost your location, for that matter of fact, your precise location. It has access to everything. Can I also say it can take advantage of it? Yes. Can it also take advantage of it? It also rather takes advantage of it. Yes, absolutely yes. Correct. So, in the last few months, we've witnessed a lot of legal cases that have been slapped on Google, a lot of PILs that have been filed, USA, Australia, India as well, where journalists and publishing houses and media houses claim that Google has been using Android, which is into maximum phones these days. It's not Apple, but Android that we use, most of us, including me. So they claim that Google has been using Android to aid themselves, and it's an unfair field that it's creating. Since, what is Neha saying? When I'm bored, I talk to Google Assistants. Okay, you can talk to me. Talk to a person, don't talk to assistants. ठीक है? So, इसलिए एक फेयर फील्ड नहीं है. और हमारी कंट्री डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्री है. 1991 की लिबरलाइजेशन के बाद जब हमने फॉरेन FDIs अलाउ किया हमारे कंट्री में, हमने फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट अलाउ किया हमारे कंट्री में, हमने बहुत सारे और प्राइवेटाइजेशन परमिट किया हमारे कंट्री में. एक फेयर प्लेइंग फील्ड होना जरूरी था कि कोई भी एक एडवांटेजेस पोजीशन पे नहीं हो. लेकिन ऐसा हो नहीं रहा है अकॉर्डिंग टू अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल. Thus, Google has been slapped with a lot of legal cases. Let's understand that. Okay? Let's understand the implication of it. कैसे? बट उसको समझने से पहले आपको कुछ चीजें और समझनी पड़ेंगी. Okay. So, trust deficit. There's an imbalance of power in relations between tech platforms like Google and others. There's an imbalance of power. Google is becoming supremely powerful. It is. And new publishers are worrying that Google is using this power to aid itself even more. The decision of India's competition watchdog to order investigation. So our competition watchdog, what is the purpose of a competition watchdog? To ensure that the competition is fair. Okay. So they ordered an investigation into Google following allegations by the country's digital news publishers, digital online news publishers. उन्होंने ही complain करी that Google ने antitrust laws break किया है. Now what is antitrust laws? How did Google break it, and what is the accusation against Google? Before telling you all this, let me explain what is antitrust laws. So to understand what antitrust law, we need to go back to MRTP. That is the Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act of 1969. Let's first understand that, then we'll understand the Competition Act as well, and then we'll understand the Antitrust Act, antitrust law. For 40 years, India has its own version of competition law. हर कंट्री में देखो इकोनॉमी अलग तरीके से फंक्शन करती है, तो कंपटीशन अलग तरीके से फंक्शन करता है, राइट? चाइना में ऐसा कोई लॉ नहीं होगा, you know that for sure. So India has its own competition law, which was enacted through a legislation called the MRTP Act. in 1969. This legislation, based on the principles of a command and control economy, was designed to put in place a regulatory regime in the country which did not allow concentration of power in a few hands. देखो, अगर power, चाहे वो पॉलिटिकल पावर हो चाहे वो इकोनॉमिक पावर हो, अगर वो एक हाथ में कॉन्सेंट्रेशन हो जाएगा उसका, then our country will no more be a democratic one. ठीक है? And since there should be a fair distribution of income, the economic power shouldn't be in one hands. To make sure that does not happen, to ensure that the MRTP Act was in place. Okay? So, therefore, it prohibited any monopolistic and restrictive trade practices. मैं अकेले ही ये करूंगा, मैं किसी को नहीं करने दूंगा, सिर्फ मैं बनाऊंगा और किसी को नहीं बनाने दूंगा. That was monopolistic. And this act made sure that there is no monopoly in terms of trade. Post-economic liberalization in 1991, what happened? It became imperative to put in place competition law. Competition बढ़ा, privatization हुआ, liberalization हुआ. So after privatization and liberalization, it became even more important to make competition law so that the competition is fair and that everybody gets a fair chance, right? So regime that was more responsive to the economic realities of the nation and consistent with the international practices. So we needed laws that also respected international laws, that also respected fair competition in our country. Consequently, in 2002, the Indian Parliament approved a comprehensive competition legislation, the Competition Act of 2002. Now, why am I teaching you this? Because if Google and antitrust laws are in news, MRTP and the Competition Act of 2002 can also be in news and can also be in GK. So, thus came in 2002's Competition Act. What was the purpose of it? It had to regulate business practices in India so as to prevent practices having an appreciable adverse effect on the AAEC of India. Okay. Now, the Competition Act, what does it do? What does it ensure? There are a few demarcations of that. Let's understand that. Any questions, anyone? No, Preeti, these are, okay, see. Preeti, you're mixing two cases. A watchdog's job is to ensure that everything goes legally fair. Okay? So, watchdog came into news in the Facebook case. It also came into news in this Google case. These are two different cases. Please don't mix them. Okay? Alright? Yes. Alright, let's move ahead. So, the Competition Act primarily seeks to regulate three types of conduct. क्या job है Competition Act का? किन चीजों को monitor करेगा वो? The first one, anti-competitive agreements, that there's not going to be any competition, ये agreement sign कर लिया आपने. Abuse of a dominant position, like Google is. Google is in a dominant position. He can use his data to abuse the users. And combinations like mergers, acquisitions and amalgamations. ऐसा merger नहीं हो जाए कि आप ultimately अकेले रह जाओ market में और आप monopoly बना लो. ऐसा merger नहीं होना चाहिए. That is the purpose of a Competition Act. The Competition Act, which was amended by the Competition Amendment Act of 2007, later came into force in 20 May 2009 when the Government of India notified the provision related to anti-competitive agreements and abuse of dominant position in the Competition Act. The government saw that people could actually create mergers and become dominant in the market. It took 3 more years for the merger control provisions for the Competition Act to be brought into force in June 2011. That is about the Competition Act, what it ensures, and that is about the MRTP Act. Is that clear to everyone? Any questions about the MRTP and the Competition Act? Yes, agreed. Okay, so the important lines are these. Let me highlight this for you. These, amendment, this, and the MRTP definition. Okay, now let's understand what is the Google case and how is it implicable here. So, the investigations have been ordered on the basis of a complaint on Google by India's Digital News Publishers Association. So, the entire association, including all the digital news publishers, are saying that Google not only dominates the market, it does, and that goes against our competition law, because एक person जो dominant है, he can't use his power to become monopolistic here. So they say that Google is not only dominant in the market for information, क्योंकि सब लोग Google पे dependent है information के लिए, including these new publishers as well, right? So Google uses it dominates the market for information, but also abuses this dominance. It does so. The association has alleged by not providing. अब देखो association ने क्या बोला है, कैसे वो abuse करता है इस power को Google abuses his power by not providing a fair share of advertising monies. कह रहे हम इतना ही पैसा देंगे advertise करना है तो करो, नहीं तो मत करो. अब Google ही तो एक place है जहां सब लोग जाते हैं. So they have no choice. It does not. And remember, money को हम monies लिख सकते हैं. It's not a typo here. So Google does not provide a fair share of advertising monies, and by not providing adequate information, limited information देंगे, बाकी information हम रखेंगे. देखो, this is digital news publishers, and the news publishers have an access to each and every information through RTI. Yes, they have it. But if any private organization denies, I'm not going to give you information, do what you can. Is it fair? No, it isn't. It has also complained that it does not get paid for the news snippets that appear in search. यानी अगर सर्च में, गूगल की सर्च में एक न्यूज स्निपेट उनकी वेबसाइट का आ जाता है, तो वो उनकी वेबसाइट को पे नहीं करते हैं, बोलते हैं हम नहीं पे करेंगे, मत दो अपना ऐड इधर. So the association's broader point is that the terms of engagement are unilateral. कह रहे हैं हमारा जो रिलेशनशिप है गूगल के साथ, where we give our website as a result of the search, where we give our ads, this agreement is unilateral. It's not bilateral. The ultimate person benefiting out of it is Google only, and it's arbitrary. And this should not happen. It is a dictated one on the tech platform. The imbalance of power and the denial of fair share of revenue. If Google earns revenue through their websites coming into the search results, then these websites also need a share of the revenue, but they are denied that. So they technically believe that Google is exploiting its dominance, exploiting the power over the people that it has. Understood the whole case, everyone? Understood? Okay, yes, agreed. Sahil, understood? Yes, okay, got it. Let's move ahead. What was recognized by lawmakers in Australia? अब देखो ऑस्ट्रेलिया का केस मैं आपको पढ़ के नहीं बताऊंगी, मैं आपको ब्रीफ बता देती हूँ. ऑस्ट्रेलिया में भी सिमिलर केस हुआ था अगेंस्ट गूगल, but the government in Australia decided to put its foot in and take the responsibility of not letting Google be dominant. But India is not Australia, and our government hasn't done anything yet, although the watchdog has decided to take up on the case. So, but in the Australian case is one of a rare invention by a government in publisher platform relationship. The government decided to take the case. The government decided I am going to put in my foot in the publisher platform relationship, and I'm going to straighten up Google. But in India, the current investigation are more a case of publisher finding an appropriate existing forum in search of a relief. They don't want the government to intervene. They are trying just to find another platform where they could portray their websites, they could display their websites. The sustainability of journalism in the digital era has far-reaching implications, especially in a democracy. It has been quite evident in recent years that the industry has ended up sacrificing quality in the quest of more eyeballs. हमने ये Facebook के केस में देखा था. वो posts भी नहीं remove करता था Facebook, allegedly by the watchdog, that the Facebook does not remove those posts that incite communal hatred because it wanted eyeballs, it wanted views, it wanted likes. That was alleged by the whistleblower. And the nuance in the quest for more emotional engagement. Emotionally, जब आप ये जो हिंदू मुस्लिम करते हो, ये करता क्या? It plays with your emotion only, right? India Pakistan करते हो, what does it do? It plays with your emotion only. And in return, what does it do? It aids the financial stability, or it aids the financial standing of Facebook and Google per se. It does, and everything else is negative on us, on our part. The cost of not being able to get a fair value for journalistic effort can never be overemphasized. अगर एक journalist effort डाल रहा है तो उसको उसका fair share मिलना चाहिए. That's important. But here in this Google case, it is actually being overlooked. Tone of the author, everyone. What is the tone? Tone of the author for the sake of views, yes. Tone of the author, everyone. Be careful about the tone. Tone. Critical and concerning, yes, certainly. Critical and concerning. Critical and concerning, yes. Okay? All right. Okay, guys, a lot of effort went into finding out the MRTP, the legal implication of it, the competition law, the antitrust law. Make sure you've understood that. Okay? Now, two things. The first one, tomorrow, Saturday, I'll be coming live with Ask Me Anything session. Make sure you check out the time. I'll have to figure that out. But make sure you come live so that most of the questions are answered there. So that most of the questions don't pop up here in our Hindu classes because I can't address them here. Two, I'll be sharing today's Hindu and Indian Express right away. And we'll see what are the important articles that we need to read today. And tomorrow we will not have a Hindu class because tomorrow is Saturday, and Saturdays and Sundays we do not have the Hindu editorial analysis classes. So let me show you what do we need to read today from the Hindu and the Indian Express. I hope it's clearly visible in the background. Yes, it is. iPhone ka ad. Okay, here we go. मैम 11 से क्लैट की तैयारी स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं बिकॉज स्कूल क्लोज है अभी. काजल, जितना जल्दी स्टार्ट करोगे उतना अच्छा होगा आपके लिए. I'll be honest about it. Shazia, hundreds of them, but precisely 3. Please watch my classes on Tone of the Author. So many jackets. iPhone, second iPhone, then which car is it? Oh, okay, looks good. Let us look at the editorial. The breach in our PM's security propaganda scheme. Oh, you have to read it thoroughly, in detail. Okay? Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, which is going to be headed by S. Somnath. Good GK question as well. Yes, important. Please read this thoroughly. Who is the writer? We need to look at that. Physician, epidemiologist, and public policy health system specialist. Yes, read this. Yes, yes. Read this. Read this. Next page. How will the 5-state election influence national politics? No, don't read this. Don't waste your time on that. The art of profiling criminals. Okay, this picture brings back so many bad memories. Read this. Read this. That is all. Now let's come to text and context. ISRO new chairman, yes. Let us look at the text and context. Yeah, read this. Skim. Yeah, read this. Read this. If you like reading this, then only read this, otherwise you can leave this. Okay. Let's come to the Indian Express. Mother Teresa and the missionaries of charity in service of God and humans. Read this. The problem with Modi-centric discourse of Indian politics, no understanding our do-it-yourself fame culture. Yes, yes, read this. Read this. Okay. It's A for annoying and B for burden and C for children. Oh Lord. Yes, read this. Read this, okay? Even as inflation remains elevated, pivot towards normalization of monetary policy. Yes, read this. Today's hate crimes are bitter harvests of fields cultivated for a century. बिल्कुल important है, detail में पढ़ लेना इसको. Synchronized attack on BJP CM छोड़ देना. Makar Sankranti is an occasion to celebrate Surya Namaskar. Oh yes, read this. How the seventh schedule affects delivery of public goods. For sure. Please read this. That is all for today. Let's look at the explained page. The explained page. No, you don't remember who that boy is? You don't remember that? Good that you don't. Explain who are Khoishans protesting near the South African president. Yes. Read this. Takeaways from forest report. Yes. COVID-19 cases are rising and so are the markets. What's going on? COVID case बढ़ और market भी बढ़ रहा है. ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है? Market तो slump होना चाहिए इस case में. If you understand the whole share market, you will know this. Otherwise, leave this. Number of sensitive seats in UP in leave. How Europe is trying to deal with its gas crisis. Yes. Who is Shahzad Khan Pathan? Leave. What happened at the NATO-Russia Council talks? Yes. Why traders are against new rule making of Marathi signboards? No. EdTech sector self-regulation bit. Yes. Read this. That is all. That is all. Alright guys, so I'm going to wind up the class today. Okay? Yes, 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 Ankita. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yes, Anushka, you're right. Yes, Manish, you're right. Okay? Alright guys, so winding up the class. I'll see you tomorrow with my Ask Me Anything session at 12:30 on the BBA platform as well with a para completion class. Have a very good day everyone. God bless you. I shall see you soon. Bye everyone.